Hello and welcome everybody to lesson 8 of our diploma in mobile app development. Can you believe that this is the last lesson already? And I hope you can see how far you have come, Rainier. That's no problem if you have a poor connection tonight. I'm really happy to hear that you've learned so much in just a couple of short weeks, and I'd love to have you on the advanced course, which will be starting 2 weeks from now. The next semester will be starting 2 weeks from now to give you a bit of a break and review what you've learned, and then we can get going. So a very quick sound check before we start off. Everyone can hear me. Please do type in where we're listening from. We've Kildare there, we've Belgium popping in, Germany fantastic, London as well. Brilliant stuff out Qatar, Malaysia very late for you. Fantastic to have you on board. So let's take a look at what we covered in the last lesson and what we'll be covering today. So the last lesson was making money in mobile. California calling in, brilliant stuff. Jerry there in New Jersey in the US, and Mike from South Africa, brilliant stuff to have you all on board. So we had a look at a couple of monetization models, and hopefully you do remember them. And the one thing I would like you to keep in mind, okay, about monetization models is that they are very much guides, okay, and they are not something you should stick to rigidly. You need to make sure that your monetization model that you're choosing and how you are going to monetize your app makes sense in the context of the function of your app. And remember, if you focus in on the function that your app fulfills, it is a lot easier to pick a good monetization model that complements that function. So don't just stick in ads because blindly sticking them in. Don't just stick in in-app purchases. Pick something that makes sense for the functionality of your app and how your app works. Remember, you do need to keep in mind that users will just download it and delete it if it does not suit them. And it's much more important to keep users and generate a steady trickle of revenue off them rather than trying to generate a huge amount of revenue off them. And again, I'll be talking more about some quite clever ways of doing that in the advanced course. So, fantastic, loads. Everyone calling in. David there in Los Angeles. George calling in from Johannesburg, Vegas in the USA, and Daniel from New Zealand. Very early for you, Daniel. Very good to have you on board. So then we got to look at making money from free apps, and this is very important, okay, because nearly 90% of the apps on the App Store are free. And if we remember, nearly all of the highest grossing apps, the apps that earn the most, are free. And there are quite a few ways to make money from free apps. We have the freemium model, we had in-app purchases, advertisement. And again, there are quite a few different implementations of these. And don't just stick in ads. Don't just stick them in because they have to make sense for the user to put up with an advertisement or to buy an in-app purchase. And then finally, we had a look at maximizing your revenue. And there are a huge variety of ways you can do this. Localizing prices, rewarding users for viewing ads. All it really boiled down to is being clever in a lot of little ways and demonstrating value to the user. So again, you do want to engage with the user, keep them coming back to the app, and the best way to do this is to have an enjoyable app for the user to use, and they will keep on using it, and then you can generate revenue off them, followed by our Q&A and our summary at the end. So if anyone has any questions on that, now is the perfect time to get typing in regards to that. So let's take a quick look at what we'll be looking at in this lesson in development analysis. And the past 4 weeks have absolutely flown by, and I really hope you have learnt a lot and are all ready to move on to the advanced course. So in today's lesson, we are going to look at some of the tools that are used in the application development lifecycle. And this is very important. At the end of the day, there are so many different languages and tools out there to use that development is a constant learning journey. And the next step in that journey is the advanced course where we'll be going forward with Java and XML in Android Studio. But you do want to remember that you do not want to be a one-trick pony. So we are going to be looking at some tools that can expand your skill set and make you a better developer. Handy, if you'd like to ask that at the end, and I'll be covering that a lot more on the advanced course in regards to SQLite. And then we're going to be looking at data analysis of the app that has been uploaded to the App Store and that I've before. And then we're going to take a quick look at our introduction to user retention. So as I've said, the only way to generate revenue is through retaining users. It is the users who have been using your app for a week, for 2 weeks, for more, and over that, who will start earning you revenue. And that can be through ads, in-app purchases, or purchasing extra functionality. Honey, I would say review lesson 5, where we talk about data storage, or you can answer that again. It's a bit off topic. We did cover SQLite in lesson 5. If you'd like me to ask that to me at the end, I'll be able to cover it in more detail. And then we're going to look at some retention strategies that you can use as well. And we'll have our Q&A at the end. So is everyone ready to get going with today, our final lesson? Quite a few lessons, coming in there. Brilliant stuff. So let's get cracking with today's lesson and take a look at development tools. And this is something I have been trying to get across throughout the course. That development, while the coding aspect of things is quite important, if you are developing apps for yourself or as part of the team, the more you know, the better. And there are so many different areas that it's definitely an advantage to you as a developer to know about. So let's get talking about some of them first of all. So let's talk about tools used in design. Is anyone familiar with these? Tools. Very good there. Very good. So this is the Adobe suite, okay? And hopefully you have all found that design is quite important. And employers out there, and even for your own benefit, and they do look for designers and developers who have a working knowledge, who have experience in professional industry standard software. And I really would advise you to check out the graphic design course, because there's a huge amount more knowledge on color theory, typography, layout, which are all very important with dealing with mobile app development. And even a basic understanding can really help you get that polished look in your app. So there is the Adobe Creative Suite. And you can use this for image editing, graphic design, and a huge amount more. And this is hugely useful whether you're doing an app for yourself, in which case you don't have to pay out for logos, icons, fonts, even just coming up with a good layout. It's very important to understand that a good layout, and the graphic design educator does go into a lot in regards to grid theory. And if you've checked out the material.io website, which is about material design, which is the design theory that Android apps use now, a lot of it does have to do with grids, grid theory, and that seems to be very important in graphic design. It's something that I am sadly lacking it. So does anyone here actually have any, does anyone have any InDesign knowledge or Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator experience? Because they're all extremely useful, and as I said, rather than paying out for your own logo, you're able to design it yourself. And you may reach the final hurdle of having your app up and working, but you're just not happy with how it looks, and it can take a lot of work to get it just the way you want it. And having this under your belt, having this experience, first of all, looks great on a CV, and second of all, helps you out in a huge way because you really know what you want and also how layouts work. So this is, as I've said, something I'm lacking in. It is industry standard, so having knowledge of that can really help you out. I definitely advise you to check out the hashtag. Check out I've done Phil's course. That's fantastic, Jennifer, and you can see definitely how being able to change images to suit your app can work. Use Photoshop for YouTube. Fantastic stuff. Another great tool that we have come across is Pop by Marvel. So this is for prototyping designs and daily inspirations. So learn these softwares from the digital media course in Blanche. Fantastic stuff, Stephen. It has a lot, and I'm just going to talk about prototyping in general for a minute. So we do have Pop by Marvel, which I have talked about before. But just in general, prototypes are hugely important because again, they let you prototype your design. Honey, again, if you'd like to ask that question at the end, we do have quite a lot to get through, so I won't be answering off-topic questions. So something to keep in mind, okay, with prototypes is they are hugely useful, but you can spend too much time on them, and you can get a high level of realism from a prototype. But at the end of the day, they are not the finished product, so keep that in mind because there's no need to spend an excessive amount of time on them, but it's very useful if you're working for a client to pass on a prototype to a client. And there is a huge amount of prototyping software out there, some of it paid for, some of it free. I'm just using Pop here as an example, and it's hugely useful because it allows you to test out your app idea, go out and give it to users, test the user flow and see if the interface works. And then as well, it gives you daily inspiration, which is hugely useful. Having a working prototype on your device where you can see how your application will work at the end when you've it up and running really motivates you to continue. And there are times in app development, I've reached it myself, where you can reach a problem or a stage where you do get quite demotivated. And it is always important to take a step back, take a deep breath, and maybe take a break for a couple of days and come back to the problem with fresh eyes. Having a working prototype on hand reminds you what the finished product is going to look like and keep you motivated because you do have a definite, tangible goal at the end. And the other way that it provides inspiration is through improvements to your app. Once you have a working prototype, you can see the downfalls in what you've planned and how you can improve that. And then the final point of a prototype, it provides a blueprint. And again, I've covered that in lesson 4, but a blueprint is hugely important. Mobile app development is a journey. You do need a roadmap, a blueprint to follow. Again, there's a huge amount of different softwares out there, so whichever one you are more comfortable with, and there's some quite advanced ones, some basic ones, really up to yourself. Whoa. And now this is something that we didn't get a chance to talk about enough on the course, is the integration of sound files. And Pop by Marvel is found on Google Play, and I can find a link for you at the end of the lesson. So adding sound effects can be a wonderful addition to making your app stand out, and again providing a good user experience. Now, if we can cast our mind back to lesson 2, I talked about context and modal context. And modal context is the user's state of mind. And sound can provide a good user experience and also influence the user's state of mind. So this is Audacity, okay? It can help you record sound effects if you want to record. You can edit sounds to suit your app as well. So remember we talked about in our Zoo app, we talked about adding sounds to provide a better user experience. So we could do that with Audacity. Again, there are a huge variety of sound recording and editing software out there. There's Logic, Ableton, Cubase from way back. I don't believe anyone uses that. Pro Tools as well. There's a huge amount out there. Whichever you're more familiar with, Audacity is a great one to start off with. And then what is also an option for you, if you wish, you can go onto websites and download sound packs that you can use. So again, just check up sound effects that you want to use, figure out what sound effects you want to use, and you could go out and download them from online. Again, a huge variety out there. I have no specific recommendations in that area. Then we have tools used in development. So App Inventor 2, what an absolutely fantastic tool. It's a lot better than a lot of what you see is what you get tools that you find online, because it does make you think computationally. And what it is great for is providing a logical prototype. It allows you to refine the idea of what you're trying to work with without being bogged down with syntax and logic errors right away. And what you can do is test the logic of what you're trying to do in your app, the behind the scenes of what you intend to do, and how it's going to work. So again, it does provide you with great blueprint. It's a fantastic introduction to app development as well, and that is why we want to use it, guys. To get you introduced to app concepts, to programming concepts very quickly, and then we'll be expanding on that with Android Studio in the advanced course. It does have a couple of quirks. There is a 10 screen limit, and the app companion does not differentiate between initialize and open screen, which is a slight problem, but again, all you need to do is package your APK to work around that. So overall, it's fantastic if you want to test out the logic of your app and see if it works, and it does provide you with quite a good prototype in those regards. The biggest fallback I have found with App Inventor is the user interface. Can lack that polished look, but there is a huge benefit to it as well, is that it can make moderately complex functionality quite easy, but it does lack a certain amount of control, and that is why we will move on to Android Studio in the advanced course. Again, it is free for download off the Android Studio website. You can download it now, and I love using Android Studio. It is based on the IDE. IDE is Integrated Development Environment by IntelliJ, which are a fantastic Czech development company who have a load of different softwares for different languages like Python, like .NET, and Android Studio overall is really your one-stop shop for Android development. So development is done through Java. And there are a couple of reasons I use it rather than going with another language. First of all, Java is the most popular programming language in the world. And by learning Java, you will have learned quite a lot about a few different languages out there. The second reason why we use Java is because as it is the most popular language in the world, and as it is one of the most popular languages for app development, there is a huge amount more support out there in regards to people have come up with answers to problems you may encounter on websites such as Stack Overflow, which is a fantastic resource. And then also just in regards to the libraries out there that you can use for functionality. And there are other options out there that you can go through, but the support isn't good in regards to problems and also in regards to libraries that you want to learn. And one thing I have found is if you do want to make the switch to iOS development, or if you want to make the switch to hybrid development with Xamarin, which is quite a good tool, learning Java and Android definitely makes that easier. And it is much easier to switch from Android to iOS than the other way around, I found, because again the support is just much better because a lot more people do it. And the differences between Java and Swift, which is used for iOS, or Java and C#, which is used for hybrid development with Xamarin, are not that big. So if you know Java, you will know quite a bit about Swift and quite a bit about C# as well. Because again, the logic of what's going on remains the same. It's the syntax that changes, and you can pick up those small changes quite quickly because you know what you are attempting to do, what you're trying to do, and it's very much just finding the solution for that. And finally as well, it gives you more control over everything. It's a huge amount of control. Nearly everything can be worked on and made your own through Android Studio. There are frankly no limitations on what you can do in Android Studio. Java is very much the building blocks of an Android app. So if you've done all the building blocks there, you can do whatever you wish in an app. All it does take is that bit of time and effort, and again, probably a blueprint as well. So I really hope you guys are excited to get going with Android Studio on the advanced course, because it is an absolutely fantastic tool. And there will be an introduction to Android, an introduction to Android Studio, Java and Java with Android available in your toolkit. So I'll be uploading those bonus videos for you. And loads of people have been emailing me saying they can't wait to get started. So I will very quickly just share with you if anyone does want to go out and download Android Studio in preparation for the advanced course, you can do so. You can do so. I'm unable to broadcast the link. I do apologize. I'm not sure why that is the case. So there are another couple of tools that you can use that are used in development. So there is Trello, which is a fantastic tool as well, okay? And we've already talked about Trello, okay? Trello is pretty much for project management. Managing your time and resources wisely in app development is hugely, hugely important. And I don't need to go into a huge amount more detail on it because, again, go to their website and work through it from there. But let's talk a little bit about GitHub, okay? GitHub is fantastic. GitHub is a website for version control, and it is based off Git. So version control, which is very much the important thing here, I want to talk about version control. Version control is pretty much keeping separate different versions of your application. And it is the process where once you reach a certain stage, you save your project as it is, and then you separate it. You create a new branch that you can work on without making changes to the previous version. And this means you can continue on, and if you do so happen to make a mistake and everything stops working, maybe you want to try and do something differently. Rather than having to go back through your code, delete everything, you can just go back to your previous branch and have everything is as you've left it. A great way to think about it is much the same way as a checkpoint in a game, making a save in a game, having a lot of different save files. So rather than saving projects in different files, using GitHub allows you to create branches when you reach a point that you're happy with. So if we think back to our iterations and our agile development and the iterative process, once you have something working, it's always a very good idea to save that and create a new branch. And that means that if anything goes wrong later on, or if you want to change things, it won't affect the working version. You can revert to the working version and start again. Or if you do get everything working, you can save that and start a new branch for new functionality. So this is very important, okay? And I will be covering version control and integrating GitHub in the advanced course. But this is hugely important because the amount of times that I have gotten to a certain point where everything was working perfectly, and rather than creating a new branch, I have just barged ahead, made a lot of changes in regards to the code. And then because, again, as a developer, you will be writing hundreds of lines of code. And unless you do have a photographic memory, you will not remember what changes you've made and how to get back to your original working version. And that has happened to me quite a few times, more times than I would care to admit. And I've had to start the project from scratch overall. And what GitHub does, it allows you to share documentation, code, and other major files across teams as well to improve communication. So it is a development tool. It helps you improve productivity and version control as well. And what's a great idea is creating a GitHub account and uploading projects that you are working on. And the reason for this is that a lot of employers, especially in the development area, do ask you to link your GitHub account so they can see that the work you have done, they can have a look at the work you've done, see if you are suitable for a job. So does anyone have any questions on any of those tools? And before we get going on tools used in distribution. So what about distribution, okay? And there are quite a few things that you can use for that. So the first thing that we have is the Google Play Developers Console. It gives you a look at what devices are being used, installs and uninstalls, countries installed in, versions of Android, everything like that. So if we want to get this open, there's a huge amount we can use in regards to that. So we can see the different installs, uninstalls within 30 days, where it is being used, and the installs on active devices, ratings. Again, as this is beta, the ratings aren't there. So we have different reports. Again, there's a huge amount that's definitely an idea to work through. And this is quite important, okay? Because say for instance we're going to go back to our dashboard. We see that we have quite a few downloads in South Africa. Maybe we have some downloads in India. It might be an idea to release an update of the app that has Afrikaans as the language option, or something like that. Maybe release some localized data for our Zoo app in regards to South Africa. Or if we're in the UK, it might be an idea to release for specific zoos, things like that, map it out. And there's quite a few different statistics here that we can look at, and the different versions of Android that are used. Again, this is quite important because maybe a lot of downloads are on older devices. Well, then we should definitely support backwards compatibility. Or if there are being quite a few downloads on new devices that are the new Android version, then it might be an idea to go back to the app, release an update that has some cool features that use the full capabilities of that version of Android. There's some vitals there about crash rates, things like that. So there's quite a bit there, guys, and again, it's well worth your time running through the Google Play Developers Console. So there's a huge amount of information there for you. Now, another quite useful tool is App Annie, and this is extremely useful analytic tool, which allows you to do a variety of things. It helps you gain valuable competitive and market insights through download metrics, revenue metrics, engagement metrics, advertising metrics. It helps you develop good strategies for your application by identifying the right partners and best markets for expansion. It can help you boost organic and paid user acquisition by enhancing your App Store presence. It helps you with App Store optimization. Again, be something we'll be talking about more in the advanced course. It helps you with a huge amount of things that can really boost the presence of your app, which is always quite important. It helps you understand market data in a lot of ways and understand how top apps monetize, and then you can figure out what best practices to use through that. Another great tool to use is Firebase. Well, Firebase is fantastic, okay? They have a huge amount of options. There's Firebase databases, real-time messaging. They have a huge amount of options, and because it is owned by Google, it's extremely easy to integrate through Android Studio, and it really provides you with a variety of tools at your disposal. But we're talking about analytics here. So we're talking about distribution and analytics. So we're not going to be talking about how you can implement databases through Firebase. We're not going to be talking about how you can implement ads through Firebase. We're going to be talking about how we can get information out of our app about our users. So it really does give you a huge amount more user data than the developer console. And it can also give you events to monitor. So you can monitor button clicks and swipes and back presses, everything like that. So it's quite good for figuring out. When does a user leave a page? Why didn't they click a certain button on a page? All of this is extremely valuable information when you want to design and develop updates, because it is really the smallest things that make the biggest difference in user experience. So say for instance in your application you notice people leaving the app on a certain page rather than continuing. It's well worth investigating why people are leaving on that page and how you can redesign your app to stop them doing so. And Firebase can really help that with its user analytics, with Firebase Analytics. So you do get a huge amount more user data. Firebase is great because you can monitor crashes in a lot more detail and everything like that. So does anyone have any questions before we move on? And as I said, you can monitor events. So let's get talking about user retention. And this is where all the analytical tools we've just ran through come useful. You can monitor how many people have uninstalled your app, Marco. But again, if an app is uninstalled, there would be no user data coming from them other than the fact that they've uninstalled it. So first, I would like to give you some sobering statistics, and this is why you really do need to be clever in a lot of small ways. Market your app correctly, provide a great user experience, and promote your app correctly. So 25% of installed apps are never used. That's not great, okay? And after 3 days, the amount of daily active users drops by 80%. So that's pretty shocking, okay? And there are some pretty shocking statistics regarding how many apps are never downloaded, but we won't be going into that now. So before we get down to these statistics, let's take a look at how to calculate the figures that mean something to us and how we can measure how well our app is doing regarding user retention. So we do need to calculate user retention, and we do have a nice little formula here, which I will explain, and it's not a complicated formula, but it is quite useful for us to use. Well, CE minus CN divided by CS by 100. So CE is the number of customers at end of period, CN is number of new customers acquired, and CS is number of customers at start of period. So if we started off with 100, we ended with 105, not a huge amount, but 15 leave and we 20 new, our retention rate is 85%. So quite a good formula, and the reason why we want to have a high retention rate, okay? So it's quite bad, okay, and we'll have a figure there in a minute. If we started off with 100, but we ended with 150, but 100 left and 100 arrived, then we would have an absolutely terrible retention rate. We wouldn't have retained anyone. And the reason why it's much better to retain users than to get new users, even though we do want new users, is that it is 5 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than to keep an old one. If we think about it, new users are more likely to leave within a couple of days, to uninstall your app, while your efforts are best spent on trying to retain users. This is where the money comes from. Someone who uses your app regularly is more likely to buy the premium features or purchase some in-app products rather than someone who has just downloaded the app and has no value in it. So it would be much better, even though it's quite good that it would be much better to start with 100, end with 100, and have no one leave at all. We would have 5 less users, but we would have much more users who are willing to put up with an ad, buy an in-app purchase, because again, they're more familiar with the app, they've gotten into the habit of using it, and they're just more likely to buy from it. So there are a couple of stages that users do pass through. There are 4 stages of retention, and keeping these in mind can help you gain a deeper understanding of users, which is very important if you want to be able to provide a good user experience for them and retain them. Helps you create that incredible user experience, because overall understanding your users helps you know what action to take next. And we have talked about that in lesson 2. So get to know your users. You want to meet and exceed expectations. Once you know what they want, gather the data, and then iterate through that. So you want to get to know your users through market research in a variety of ways. Once you have that, you want to meet and exceed expectations when developing your app. After you've released your app, you want to gather the data, and then you want to do that over and over again to really keep on getting users. So, first stage, great way is to maintain personal relationships. So we've covered a lot of this in the lesson targeting our audience. So just general, find more about their lives, what functionality your app provides in regards to their lives, what problem it solves, and then keep the users happy through that. And it's great to interact with happy customers. In early stage users, maybe ask them to rate the app at the end of the 7 days. In middle stage users, maybe ask them to participate in a quick survey. What would they like to see from the app? Maybe reward them for sharing the app online, or just even a reward for engaging. And then late stage users, again, reward users for sharing and promoting the app. Even just reward the users for using the app. Say for instance, you have been using the app for 90 days. Here's a free reward, something like that. Because again, in-app purchases are just bits of code. They don't cost you anything to give away for free in that sense. Unlike, say for instance, if you were giving away some food or actual physical products. They are digital products, which overall, once you've created the basis, the foundation of a digital product, you can replicate that as many times as you want for no cost. And keep in mind, you do want to have all hands-on support by solving customer issues, adopting a user-centric mentality, and planning for future developments. So, second stage is set and meet user expectations. And this process starts when we start promoting our app. Okay, this process starts when we start promoting our app. Once we start promoting our app with screenshots, things like that, we are beginning to set expectations. And this is quite important, okay? Because we set the user expectations with screenshots, with promotional materials. And if the app meets those expectations that we have set, well, then we can provide a great user experience, and that leads to retention. Now, if we set expectations and we do not meet those expectations, the friction between that leads to a huge problem. Users don't get what they expect. Users want to get what they expect. So, a great way to help them with that is through a user onboarding flow. And what we mean by a user onboarding flow is just a quick introduction to the app itself. And there are a variety of ways you can do it. You can have, if you ever start a new Google account, it will give you a quick tour of the different features. When you buy a new phone and you open it up, it generally gives you a quick tour of the features on the phone. So a great way to do that is with in your app as well. If your app's a complicated app, or even if it's not, just a quick, when they open up the app for the first time, a quick little, this feature does that, this feature does that. So inform the user about how it all works. Another great way to get the user engaged right from the start is to customize the experience. So maybe get them to set the color of their background, maybe setting up the app with the user's name, integrating with their Gmail. So it's a great way to get the user using the app and involve them right from the start. Again, habitualizing use, and habitual use is very, very important. FAQs and introduction is great to have as well online. So when we set the expectations, we tell them what to expect. And this is all going to be done through all the information on the App Store listings and in all the promotional material. And this is where expectations you set, you want them to be consistent. So by setting expectations correctly and fulfilling them, it's a very, very bad idea to lie to users, say that this app provides this and it provides that, because again, when they download it and try using it and it doesn't do that, they will be quite annoyed and delete it. So set expectations, be consistent, and then do meet them. And always deliver value in regards to that. There are a couple of things as well. Watch out for feature blindness. So by that, you don't want to be having everything going the whole time in the app. It provides a function, it solves a problem in their life. They should be using the app for that function. You don't need to be bombarding them with constant visual stimuli. because they will start ignoring information. But there is also a possibility of naturally ignored information, and it might be an idea to remind users about unused features every so often, and because you do not want that feature blindness. Then we have stage 3, increase long-term value. And again, really all of this ties into habitualizing use by engaging users, because it's just not enough for them to download your app. You need them to engage with it in a serious way to generate revenue. So a great way to do it is surprise and delight, offer promotions proactively, rewards for sharing, surprise users with just because value. This week, all our in-app purchases are 50% cheaper, 10% cheaper. You've been using, or something like that, you get one free in-app product because you've been using the app for so long. But do avoid last-ditch attempts in regards to that. You do not want to bombard users. Having a great support team. Again, customer support is very, very important, okay? Your app lives or dies by the ratings on the App Store. If users do not give good ratings and give bad ratings, your app will slip down when people search it. So having a responsive customer support, even if that's just you. And one tip I would say when publishing your app, always release your app when you have a bit of free time. Release it on a Friday when you have the weekend to deal with any problems. But just reply to users if they complain about a problem. Just straight away, we are working on getting that fixed, and please hold on. Again, it shows that you care about the user, that you have their best interest in their heart, and then also you do care about your app as well. And it does leave a lasting impression. And what can happen as well is that a lot of times someone was going to leave a bad review because it crashed, because it didn't do this. If you explain to them and ask them to hold off on that review, oftentimes they will, and avoid unmemorable experiences. So do try make your interaction with the customer, with the user, in the comment section, in the rating section, fun to an extent. So celebrate successes as well. So user progress. If they've been using the app for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month, milestones and anniversaries, remind the user why they use the app. They've downloaded that app for a specific functionality to solve a problem in their life, and remind the user why they use that app. If it's a fitness app, remind them that fantastic, you've done 3 runs this week, you've done 10 runs this week. If they're using a recipe app, fantastic. Again, remind them that they've completed this amount of recipes, that they haven't tried a recipe today, things like that. And then finally, stage 4, you want to optimize with data. And there are a huge amount of options out there. Again, we talked about Firebase. So there's the analytical tools we looked at, App Annie, Firebase, the developer console. Again, finding out where users spend the most of their time, improving those areas. How can you add more functionality to those areas? Because again, when you release an app, you don't want it just to be on to have a jump of users for a month and then no one uses it. A lot of revenue does come from a steady trickle of users over a year period, over a 2-year period, over a 3-year period. So it is important to pay attention to your app. Not just once it's released, that's the end of it. You do want to release updates, whether they're small or big, and just keep users engaged with it. Find friction where the user is tripping up. There is no catch-all solution to this, but again, try your best and implement a personal approach. Then overall, learn, adapt, and apply. So learn from the data, adapt your app, and then apply. Improving the functionality, learning more about your users, and to provide the best user experience. And prototypes are great for helping you find friction. And again, you can find out where the users are tripping up. You can release it on your alpha or beta channels as well, no problem at all. So that's quite useful to do also. So we have reached the end of today's lesson. I would love if you could get involved in this week's weekly challenge by posting up what was your favourite lesson, going to the Shaw Academy's Facebook page using hashtag ShawMadLesson to tell us what your experience was and what your favourite lesson was. Do it under that hashtag. So it would be great if you could all get involved in that. That would be fantastic. So everyone, I do have to say I've been blown away by the level of enthusiasm amongst you all. It's really great to see such a passionate bunch of students, and honestly my inbox has never been so jam-packed with emails full of absolutely fantastic questions. So as this is the last lesson, I know most of you are eager to see how you can continue on this journey, as from what I gather you really don't want it to end, and it is so refreshing to see so many people brimming with excitement to continue developing and get their apps out there. So I made this slide to illustrate the different options available, as I am aware that you all do have different goals and it is not a one size fits all. So we are on the Diploma in Mobile App Development. This is the last lesson, so we have covered a lot in this course. But for those of you who are serious about developing quality apps, the obvious and natural next step is the Advanced Diploma in Mobile App Development. This course is starting quite shortly, so it'll give you a chance to take a little break from learning, but not too long, as I know from experience it can be quite hard to get started again when you stop for too long. And this course is perfect for those of you who wish to develop your apps just for you or your community. It's great as well if you're looking to go freelance and earn a bit of money on the side, or for those of you who are looking to get into the mobile app industry, where there are a huge amount of options there. So once you've completed that course, and there's a huge amount in it, another good course to check out, which will really give you a nice well-rounded education in programming, is the Advanced Diploma in Web Development. Now, I wish I did have time in the Advanced Diploma in Mobile App Development to cover such things as back-end services, but I simply don't. There's simply just too much in the Advanced Mobile App Development course, and it's covered a lot better in the Advanced Web Development course. So I would check that. It will make you a well-rounded developer. And again, once you've completed that, there's the Diploma in Graphic Design. I have talked about graphic design quite a bit over the duration of the course. Being able to create your own logos, being able to work with your own branding is extremely important, and then as well it will give you quite a good understanding of user interfaces, layouts and things like that. And then finally as well, definitely an idea to check out the marketing course, because again, your app is a product. You do need to get it out there. You do need people to download it and know it's there. And it is through marketing that you get that. And overall, running through them will help you be a successful app developer. So as I mentioned, the Advanced Mobile App Development course is the next natural step. And in it, you'll be gaining fantastic mobile app development skills. You'll be learning Android Studio, the preferred professional development suite for Android apps, and overall developing quality apps. So it is an incredible course, and I am excited to see so many of you will be progressing on. You can see there in the chat box, a lot of you can't wait to get going with that course. That's fantastic to see you progressing on and getting out there and developing quality apps. So in the course, okay, and a lot of people will be asking me what they will be able to do after the advanced course. Well, first of all, Java programming. Java is the most popular language in the world, and as well, if you know Java, okay, you will be able to make the switch to C#, which is used for some cross-platform development, or make the switch to Swift, which is used for iOS development. I've found in my own personal experience that having Java skills really allows me to make the switch to other platforms and other languages quite easily. And then as well, user experience and user interface design. We've talked a lot about engagement, and the only way to generate revenue from an app is to have users using it, and using it often, and designing a good user interface that provides a good user experience, as well as some other aspects of user experience, is very, very important. So as you can see, engaging with the users as well as mastering Android Studio. We'll be talking about monetization strategies in a lot more detail and implementing some of them, and overall it will help you design and develop successful apps. So as I've said, if you're just looking to develop an app for you or your community, looking to get into it freelance, or looking to get into the industry full stop, the Advanced Mobile App Development course is for you, and it will really, really help you get there. Now, I would like to have a quick reminder, okay, that the course is incredibly popular. and we do have limited places, and would you believe there are only 13% of places left. So really do upgrade as soon as possible, guys. We haven't even finished this lesson, and your free trial that you're currently on is still ongoing, but do upgrade as soon as possible, okay? Lots of you typing in that you can't wait to get started. Please email me if you would like me to reserve a spot in the advanced course for you. If for some reason or another you can't upgrade just now, I will try and hold on to some spaces for you. But again, it is first come, first served. If you upgrade, you will reserve yourself a spot on the advanced course. And I really would hate for you to miss out, because I know from the emails I've been receiving from you, from the enthusiasm from you, that you are very, very excited to move on with it. And I would love to offer you all the space, but when it is full, it is full. And the reason for that is because of the level of support, okay? It is because of the level of support that we provide. If we have too many students on the advanced course, the level of support would not be the same, and that's really the important thing, because we're here to support you through your educational journey. And do email me at mobile.app@shawacademy.com if you have any questions about the advanced course. And I would like to as well say welcome to all our new premium members. So although we've completed our foundation in mobile app development, this is only the beginning. It's just the first step in your educational journey with Shaw Academy. And as I've mentioned earlier, the vast majority, almost all of you on this course, have already signed up to become great mobile app developers. But the great thing is that you guys can join in any course at all. And as I said, check out the graphic design course, check out the marketing course, because they are very, very important, as we saw in this lesson. So as we are in lesson 8, okay, your 30-day access is ending soon. So please be aware that your access will end. It means you will lose access to all the recordings, the toolkit materials, everything like that. And no, says Sarah, I wish I could extend it forever. If you would like to get ongoing access to everything, all you need to do is upgrade to the premium membership, which you can cancel at any time. And again, give you lesson recordings, final assignment, and full toolkit. So when you are premium, you will get ongoing access to all recordings, the final assignment, and the full toolkit. And right after the lesson, the final assignment is available. So we talked about the final assignment during the last lesson, and as I said, I'd recommend that absolutely everyone completes the final assignment, regardless if you're taking this course for personal or professional reasons. And I really hope some people here have started revising since lesson 7. So we'll be releasing it after this lesson, so don't leave revising to the last minute. Hopefully everyone is aiming for a distinction as well. And if I have any nervous students, don't worry, I have prepared that bonus exam prep video for anyone worried about this, for anyone worried about the exam. So that's there, and any questions, just email me at mobile.app@shawacademy.com, no problem at all. And if anyone needs any help adding members to their account, please let me know. Don't forget that you can add up to 3 friends or family members to your membership completely free. They will get their own full account with all the exact same membership benefits as you. Might be an idea, maybe rather than taking on the graphic design and marketing course yourself, maybe have one of your friends or family doing the graphic design course. Maybe have one of them doing the marketing course. It's not a bad idea, okay? Because developing apps purely on your own can be tough. It's well manageable and many people do it. But at the same time, working as a team can really allow you to build bigger apps and work on larger products. So overall, these are the main benefits of the premium membership. Just to remind you that they will include the EQF Level 5 Professional Diploma. It will give you full access to all Foundation Diploma courses, full access to all Advanced Diploma courses as well. You will get free e-diplomas and toolkits on all of the courses, and full access for 3 friends and families who will get their own separate accounts with the exact same membership benefits as you, and premium support on all the courses. And as well, you can cancel at any time. So that was a fantastic lesson, guys, and I actually can't believe we've finished the foundation course. How quick have those past 4 weeks gone? So let's do quick Q&A. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Gillian, I don't have time for any more learning. That is
point. But at the same time, you do need to make time if you want to get ahead, if you want to become a mobile app developer and develop fantastic apps. And all we are asking for is 2 hours a week, and I'm sure that is doable. So don't worry about that. Should I wait until after the trial ends to sign up? There from Julius. No, I would definitely advise upgrade as soon as possible. Take advantage of the offer because it is ending soon, and also you do want to reserve yourself a spot on the advanced course. So really, really do it. Don't wait until the trial is ended because the offer will have expired by then. Brilliant stuff. So am I locked into this payment option? That's a fantastic question there. The answer is of course not. You can cancel via your members area at any time. We really want to make this as flexible for you as possible, so don't worry about that. Another couple of questions coming in there.
Wayne, if it keeps on failing, it may be an issue with your internet connection. I have sent you a link there just for the Android Studio. Guys, as well, I would advise before downloading that, you do need to download the Java Development Kit 8. And I covered that in, in the 4 bonus videos I will be uploading. So I'll be covering the whole installation process of Android Studio in the 4 bonus videos that I'll be uploading. I surely enjoyed it. That's fantastic to hear. Glad you enjoyed the looking forward to having you on the advanced course as well. Forrest personally learned a lot. That's a brilliant stuff. No problem at all. It's been great to have you on board. So there doesn't seem to be too many other questions coming in at the moment. So as usual, guys, email me at mobile.app@shawacademy.com. And I would as well like to say thank you. This is the end of your Foundation in Mobile App Development course. I really would like to thank you all for your participation. I really hope that you have enjoyed the course. So thanks a million for joining me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I would give yourselves a pat on the back for completing the course, and do email me at mobile.app@shawacademy.com.